We're at the Geneva International Motor Show and we're going to do a slow walk around of the all-new Renault Clio. So this one is in a nice orange color. You'll notice we'll probably check out that blue one over there in a few moments, but let's look at some of the design elements we see here. So this one's equipped with 17-inch wheels, Renault's signature headlights. This one has a lot more detail to it. You'll notice there are some angles going on along the top. We'll take a closer look at that in a few moments. This one has a total of 6 parking sensors in the front. Projection beam fog lamps, which might be LED, I believe. This one's equipped with a 360-degree camera system, which is pretty unheard of in a vehicle in this category. You'll notice there's a nice chrome accent running along the bottom, and the way it's angled, it catches light very well, and kind of gives it that blackish, whitish kind of appearance. You'll notice there's Clio badging on the back of that chrome stripe. The taillights have LEDs running through them, very distinctive. We have a total of 6 parking sensors back here, and a camera placed right inside the Renault logo, which is kind of rare. You usually see cameras pop out of logos, like the logo will kind of slant and the camera will pop out, but it's the first time I'm seeing a camera being integrated into the brand's logo. Clio badging below that, and the roof itself has a nice slant to it, giving it a nice coupe kind of appearance. Even the rear windows, they kind of slant upwards as they get to the back, complementing that coupe kind of styling. And as that line moves towards the back, you'll notice it curves. The rear body panel curves into the trunk. Let's start with looking at the specs on this model. Unfortunately, I don't read French, but so it's available in French or German. Let's try German. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure whether they have the specs listed for this model. Technical data. Not exactly sure how to get to the technical data. I was just kind of like looking for specs, but that's to give you an idea of the size of the vehicle, the colors it's available in. This is an orange Valencia that we see here. Available in anywhere from a 15-inch wheel to a 17-inch wheel, and obviously the one we see here is this one, the 17-inch. So this is just some of the features: smart cockpit, Renault Easy Drive with 360-degree camera system that we saw in this model, multi-sense, Renault Easy Connect for your navigation, Android Auto. So let's take a look at these ones. So just to give you an idea of how much trunk space that's here on this Clio, we have the trunk open here, so we're just going to check that out really quickly. So it's pretty standard for a vehicle in this category. You'll notice there's not a lot of height to it because of the sloping roofline, but it's actually pretty wide. You have more storage space under here, and if you take this out, you'll have quite a deep storage space. 60/40 split seats in this model. The Bose sound system. A single chrome tube exhaust. 4 parking sensors back here. And it looks really cool how this curves into the trunk, like I mentioned earlier. And the way the rear window fits right into that trunk lid gives it a really nice appearance, especially considering that it curves upward. I'm not exactly sure whether that's the best for rear visibility, but in terms of design, it looks really nice. Here's some of that angular pattern that we have going on that I'll show you in a bit on the front as well. And this is just to give you an idea of the front headlamp cluster in detail. So here we have some of that angular design pattern going on, the triangles, LEDs. But there's a lot of detail inside these light strips as well. I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but there's a lot happening in terms of, it looks like pixels, which Renault calls their headlight cluster, LED pure vision. As we step inside, you'll notice there's a lot of technology happening here. So we have a large portrait-oriented touchscreen, and it has a lot of functions built in. Fortunately enough, we have our own dedicated dials and knobs for the air conditioning as well as the heating, which is great. It kind of allows you to do it tactily without having it all be integrated into the touchscreen, which I really appreciate. With park assist, here we have the heated seats, auto start stop, a button for the camera system, and I believe though the radio is still controlled through this system. Regardless, the screen, even though it's in portrait orientation and kind of pops out, it's not impeding the driver's vision, which is great. You'll notice that the instrument cluster is mostly digital. We do have some sections here for the engine temp as well as the fuel on this side, but aside from that, everything else is digital through that screen there. It's a pretty large screen. It is a square screen and it's not contoured to the shape of the instrument cluster, but it kind of reminds me of Honda's touchscreen that they built in to their into their vehicles, into their instrument clusters. Essentially, let's go with some of the controls that we have here. So here we have the control for obviously toggling between the screens. Here we have the OK to confirm that, and the up and down to kind of move the information that we see here. So yeah, so that's what the steering wheel controls do. Here's the cruise control. Not sure what the 0 is, but here's a cruise on, cruise off, and lane keep assist, as well as high beams or low beams to toggle. It's actually rare. I haven't seen. I mean, you don't usually see this in North American vehicles where you can toggle a switch to control your headlight settings. Here are the controls on the door.
Das ist, glaube ich, neu. Das kann ich mich nicht dran erinnern. Guck mal ein.
I believe that might be wireless charging, just because I see a cell phone icon on it, but I'm not totally sure. Here the shifter is pretty standard. The cup holders themselves are not that deep. They're probably maybe 4 inches deep, or 3 inches probably, but they have a cover to them where you can put your cell phone on top or something, and here you can put some change if you need to. Here's the visor.
Okay.
nice red accent running through the dash. You'll notice it goes from one end of the air conditioning vent to the other. I like how sleek it is. It's not overdone. And now let's step into the back seat. On the door we have bottle holders and red accent stitching on the seats. You'll notice that the latch to open the door is here. And once you do that, you step into the rear. And here we have a pretty decent amount of space for a vehicle in this size. As you notice from the outside, it does curve inward, which kind of affects how much shoulder space the passenger gets. You'll notice that the door is contouring pretty close to the passenger's shoulder. So it might be a tight fit for 4 people or 5 people, but it might still be a tight fit for 4 people because there's not a lot of shoulder space. Here we have dome lights for each side passenger in the rear. We have red accent stitching back here as well. This has been a look at the all-new Renault Clio at the Geneva International Motor Show.